Today I'm going to tell you a story that started in a church and completely turned lives upside down. The bride in her white dress, her father, a respected pastor, ready to officiate their marriage. Everything seemed perfect, flawless. But then a sound cuts through, whispers from the guests, phones lighting up, someone playing a video in the crowd. The groom standing at the altar suddenly feels every eye turn toward him. What happened next didn't just ruin the wedding, it exposed secrets buried for 6 years, shattered friendships, tore families apart, and set off a chain of events no one in that church could have foreseen. Some weddings end with a kiss. This one ended with a question: who sent that video, and why right now? The groom in this story is Brandon Nash. He was 29 at the time. Working as a real estate agent in Atlanta, on the surface he looked clean-cut, disciplined, the kind of guy who went to church every Sunday and helped out in the community. People trusted him. They thought he was building a solid future. But 6 years earlier, Brandon was living a completely different life. A life most people in that church wouldn't understand. A life he'd tried with everything he had to hide and erase. He was a stripper. Not in the advertised clubs you see on billboards or in movies, these were underground, high-end, private, exclusive spots where anonymity was everything. Clients paid extra for discretion, performers used stage names, never revealed their real identities. And these weren't ordinary clubs, they were gay clubs. Brandon danced for men, entertained them, fulfilled their nighttime fantasies. The truth is, Brandon had always been bisexual. He'd known it from a young age, but growing up in a religious community meant burying that truth deep. He knew what people would say, how they'd look at him, the judgment that would follow. So he stayed silent. Played the role everyone expected. Dated women publicly, nodded along to sermons on traditional values, compartmentalized his identity into acceptable parts. When he left that world, the clubs, the performances, the late nights, he made sure no trace followed him, deleted all related social media, changed his phone number, cut ties with anyone from back then, even changed how he dressed and carried himself. He became someone new, clean, respectable. Why did he start stripping in the first place? It wasn't simple curiosity or rebellion. It was survival. His real estate career wasn't taking off yet. He'd only had his license for a year. He was doing everything right, showing houses, cold calling clients, networking. But the big sales weren't coming. Rent was piling up, 2 months behind. Eviction notices were sliding under his door. He'd spend the day showing properties, come home at night, stare at those papers on the counter, feeling the weight of failure. Then his younger sister got sick. She was his only family left. Their parents died in a car accident when Brandon was 19 and she was 17. Just the two of them after that. Brandon moved to Atlanta, she stayed behind to finish nursing school. They talked every week, visited when they could. She was all he had. One night she called, kidney issues, serious surgery needed, out-of-pocket costs over $15,000. Brandon didn't have that kind of money. He tried banks, loans, odd jobs, even thought about selling his car, but he needed it for work. He was desperate. That's when a guy from the gym mentioned the clubs, good money, if you have the body, easy cash. Brandon didn't want to, but there was no other way for his sister. One Thursday night he walked into a club and asked if they were hiring. The manager sized him up, told him to take off his shirt, hired him on the spot. Started that weekend. It was uncomfortable at first, the lights, the music, all those eyes. But the money was real. $800 his first night. In a month, he covered her surgery and caught up on rent. He told himself it was temporary, just until things turned around. But temporary stretched into a year, longer. The money was too good. That's when he met Williams Bowman. Williams was a regular, not a performer, a patron who came every weekend, sat in the same spot, tipped well, watched Brandon a little longer than the others. At first, Brandon didn't think much of it, regulars were normal. But then Williams started talking, compliments after shows, drinks during breaks, one night waiting after shift to grab food. Brandon was tired, hungry, said yes. They talked for hours at a diner. Williams was charming, non-judgmental, really listened. Brandon opened up, about his parents, his sister, feeling stuck. Williams just listened. It felt rare, real. They started spending more time together, daytime coffee, dinners after shifts, conversations into the early morning. Friendship turned into something more, intimate, physical, emotional. They never called it a relationship, but for 3 months, they were involved. Williams saw Brandon not as a performer, but as himself. But things shifted. Brandon mentioned wanting to leave the clubs, Williams went quiet. Talked about real estate taking off, subject changed. Showed up unannounced when Brandon needed space. At first easy to ignore, but the physical side went from exciting to routine, obligatory, empty. One night Brandon said it gently, "I care about you, but I'm not happy anymore. I want something different, a real future. Let's end the intimacy, but stay friends, best friends." Williams took it better than expected, no anger, no tears, no begging. Just nodded, said it was probably experimentation anyway. Brandon believed him. They stayed in touch, occasional club visits, texts, a couple lunches. On the surface, fine. But Williams hadn't moved on. It was his first love. Years passed. Brandon's career broke through, big commercial sale, life-changing commission. Paid debts, better apartment, regular church, community involvement. Became the man he wanted to be. Only one person knew the full truth, Williams. Kiara Cole was 27. Second-grade teacher, bright, organized classroom, kids loved her patience, parents respected her care. But above all, the pastor's daughter. Her father, Job Cole, lead pastor of a 300-plus member church, influential in the community. Mother Daniela ran women's ministry, organized events, visited the sick. The Coles were a pillar, a model. Kiara was raised to uphold that image. No casual dating, no clubs, no questionable social media. Every relationship scrutinized, every guy had to meet standards, and her father's approval. Most didn't. Kiara was fine with it, believed in waiting for the right one. Then she met Brandon. Church charity event, helping displaced families with housing. Brandon new to the church, wanting involvement. Assigned outreach, connecting with agents, resources. Kiara handled donations. During the event, she noticed him, focused, helping families genuinely. Brief talks, but it stuck. Later, Brandon asked her to lunch, to discuss another event. Kiara said family meets him first. He agreed without hesitation. First dinner, questions from Job and Daniela. Brandon honest, grew up Christian, drifted for a while, working to rebuild faith, not perfect but trying. Job didn't approve that night, but didn't say no, come back. Brandon did, family dinners, Bible study, Sunday service, events. Treated Kiara with respect, no rush. After 18 months, he proposed, during Sunday service, on one knee in front of 300 witnesses. Kiara said yes. Planning started, 200 guests, big venue, honeymoon Turks and Caicos. But Kiara didn't know about the stripping, clubs, Williams. Brandon thought it was a closed chapter, better protected than shared. Williams introduced as best friend, helped with wedding, dinners, supportive. Kiara liked him. But closer look, his stares at them together, smiles not reaching eyes, lingering conversations. Not like a friend, like someone watching something stolen, waiting to take it back. June 14th, Saturday. Wedding day. Church packed, 200 guests. Brandon at altar, hands trembling slightly. William's best man, outwardly happy. But he'd planned for weeks to destroy it. Music starts, Kiara enters, gorgeous gown, father escorting. Ceremony begins. Job preaches on marriage, covenant, truth as foundation, no secrets. Then phones buzz. One, then more. Guests pulling them out, watching something. Whispers grow. Daniela sees first, shows Job. He stops mid-sentence, looks at Brandon, disgust. Hands phone to Kiara. 5 seconds, her world collapses. Bouquet drops, knees buckle. Video, 6-year-old Brandon on stage, shirtless, dancing explicitly for a man, kissing, money thrown. Undeniable. Job, you are of the world. You cannot marry my daughter. Kiara carried out sobbing. Church empties in minutes. Brandon alone. Williams, I'll drive you home. Brandon agrees, no car. Drive silent at first. Then Brandon realizes only Williams had that video. Borrowed phone once, years ago. Why? Williams, she'd never understand you. I did you a favor. Argument escalates, Williams admits jealousy, obsession. 6 years pretending. Brandon gets out, walks. Williams follows briefly, then gives up. Next day, phone blows up, judgment, hate. Kiara unreachable. Family shuts him out. She hospitalized from panic attack. He tries hospital, blocked. Leaves letter, trashed. 4 days later, Job calls, meet at church. Brandon confesses everything. Job, deceived, but Kiara's choice. 2 days later, Park meet with Kiara. She forgives spiritually, but needs time, maybe forever. 2 months, Brandon works obsessively. Kiara dates King Ford, gets engaged briefly. Brandon hears, hurts. William stalks, calls, letters, shows up. Brandon gets restraining order, violated twice. 6 months later, Kiara calls, Park again. Tried moving on, but hard with Brandon. Ended engagement. They restart, slow, honest. Families accept gradually. 3 months, reproposal in Park. Small wedding planned December 3rd. But Williams hears. Decides if he can't have Brandon, no one can. Hires Terry Langston, $20K, make it look like random robbery. November 27th, Kiara shot in school parking lot, shoulder, neck, abdomen. Brandon hears on phone. Hospital, coma. Brandon stays. Wakes after 3 days. Investigation, suspects cleared one by one. Leads to Williams, burner phone, withdrawals. Hitmen flip. Arrested, life without parole. Hospital wedding, simple, chaplain. Year later, daughter Grace born. Moved to Charlotte, new quiet life. Williams in prison, life, no parole. What does this teach us? Not love, but obsession is dangerous. The most threatening person might be the one who claims to know you best. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, comment, where are you watching from? Write I'm still here if you made it to the end. See you in the next story, stay safe, don't ignore red flags.